Here's the first scramble. So no rotations. We're doing the orange white bottom. So what you did was, so here are the pieces, the corner and the edge, and then this orange green and this orange green. So you started with B prime to bring this edge here, make it green on top, and then R wide back prime to solve that like that. And then now we just have this edge with this corner. So U R2 to set them up, U prime, R wide prime, F prime pairs them. Doing that block, I would have probably done something similar. I would have done the front pair first. So I would have gone R prime F and then R U R prime to pair them up in the front like this, and then F and B prime at the same time. Then R wide U to R back prime to join them like that. So I just like that because it's pretty finger tricky. Similar amount of moves, but I didn't have to regrip during mine, so it's just something to think about. Overall, your first block, it was decent solution, and you didn't pause that much. I saw the first square go down, and then you just regrip your hand, and then it was straight through the second pair. So I'd say that look ahead and TPS was good, so keep it up. So for your second block, you saw this DR edge and did U prime, R wide prime, U prime, R wide, R2 to put it there. After the R2, you did U prime, R, and then paired these two up, M, U, M prime, R prime. Now, I don't really like doing this pair this way because you paired them up while having the DR edge on the front, and that forces you to pair them and then bring it back down, and then waste two moves doing the R and the R prime, and then pair them in the back like this. And then the second pair you got was this one, and you did U, R, U prime, and then you did this interesting R, B prime, R prime, B, R prime. That's a cool way of doing it. It restores first block after using B moves, but for that case, what I would recommend doing is, if you're going to use F or B moves, then I would recommend going here and doing a U prime, sledgehammer, and then insert. So for this second block, I'd start the same way, U prime, R wide prime, U prime, R wide 2, but here I did an R wide 2 because I saw that these two were on the bottom, so I want to bring them to the top, make sure this is the one I'm looking for and it's not something else like that. And here I would just say, do some better pair selection. What I mean by that is instead of solving this pair, the corner is inserted, so it's an awkward pair. That's why you had the R, M, U, M prime, and then R prime thing. So this pair is a much better one to solve. And there, it set up that pair a lot nicer. Your look ahead in second block was pretty good. I saw a bit of pausing after you put the DR edge down. It took you a second to find the back pair, but that's alright, just keep working on it. Here's the CML you got. It's the diagonal anti-soon case. So you did U and then now the algorithm I'd recommend for that case is from this angle, and it goes and then sledgehammer U R. So it's just slightly different. So here's the LSE. You did U, M prime, U2, M prime to get the arrow, and then U2, M, U, M prime, and that actually does EOLR, so it puts them on the bottom, and then U2, M2, U prime, U prime, M prime, U2, M2, U2, M prime, and then you corrected that AUF mistake with the U2. So here, instead of doing a U, I would have done a U prime just because I do U moves with the left hand, and U prime is more comfortable than U for me, and then to get EOLR, and then I would have gotten a different 4C case. So just pay attention to your LSC and make sure you're using the right finger tricks. So M prime M with one hand and then U prime U with the other hand, and do whatever's more comfortable. So if you do U moves with right hand, do U like that more than you do U prime. But if you do it with left hand, do U prime more than U. So your LSC was probably your best step in that solve. The TPS was by far the fastest. It was pretty fluid and you knew your EO case pretty well. There's a little pause at near the end of LR edges and 4C, but so what I would say for that is, since you're so comfortable with edge orientation, while you're solving it, just look ahead and try to find the LR edges, pay attention to where the corners end up so you can line them up, and then do the M2, and then from there, that'll set you up into a good position to do the last step. Here's the second scramble. You did the yellow-red block. So we have this pair and then DR edge, this one. So you did D to bring that to the back. UR pairs these. And then U2, L2 lines these up. And then D to make that square, U2, F prime. I like that. I would have done something similar, except instead of doing U2, F prime to solve the last pair, I would have probably done RY2F. Alright, so for that first block, I would have held it at a slightly different angle. I would have held this green-red pair in the back, and then, so I see this is here, so if I do an R2, then these are ready to do, pair up like that, but then I would do R2, D, set them up, U, R prime pairs them in the back, like that, and then D, F prime. So this first block you did had a bit more pauses than the other solve. There was a UU, and you sort of got confused after you did the first square, so I would say just make sure you're planning it in inspection and tracking all the pieces so you don't have to pause. Second block, right away after finishing your first block, I just saw you do an R2, so that's good. You were tracking the DR edge. Then you did U and paired this pair like this, R prime, M prime, U prime, M, and then U2, R2, U prime, R prime, and that built this pair at the same time. U prime, R, Y prime, U prime, R. So you got a bit lucky with that back pair. The way I would solve this pair is bringing it to this side and solving it like this. And then ending it with an R wide prime so I can orient this edge. And then solving these two. So again, you did that pair thing where you solved it with open slot, where you have the DR edge either on the back or the front. And the reason that isn't good is because you have to take a piece out and then pair it and then put this back and then put it in the front slot. So that's a bit of wasted moves there. CML, you oriented centers again, which is good. Then you did U2, saw this sexy sledge left-handed case and did it like that. I would have done the same thing, or I would have done either that or the alg from this angle, like that. But I use them interchangeably, so pick it based on your preference. And then EO, you did UM2, and for this case where you have 2 on bottom, 2 on top, it doesn't matter what angle you do it from, so you can just, whenever you see this, you just do M2 and then you get the arrow. But you did U, M2, U prime, and then solve this arrow, M prime, U, M prime, U, and then LR edges, like that. U prime, and then this was interesting. You use D moves to solve this 4C case. M prime D2, M prime D, M D2. I don't like that because it's not as finger tricky. Although for something like FMC, might be alright. But for speed solving, I feel like it would make you fumble or drop the cube. So try doing it with the M2 U2 solution instead. Now for this case, I would probably do EOLR. So this is actually a pretty easy one. When you have this, you just basically swap this piece with this piece and it makes a good arrow, like that. And then here's the last solve. I'll go quickly through this one. So we have this green-yellow pair. You did L prime, U wide prime to pair this up, and then the other pairs here, R wide 2, U2, R prime, R wide prime, back prime. That's good. I would have held it from a different angle. So instead of L prime, you start with R wide prime. So R wide prime, U prime. And then this last pair, instead of doing R wide 2, I just do R wide to put that corner orange over there, U2, R2 back prime. So really similar, but that's just something to keep in mind. Then for your second block, once again, I like that you tracked dr and solved it pretty quickly. So you went ry du r2, but then you paused a bit, but the rest of the solution was good. So you did u mu m prime, ry du ry prime, u, and then solved these two. And that's great. I would have done the same thing. LSC, I mean, that's not LSC, that's CMLL. And then you did this EO, so M2 U M prime U. Here, that's just what I said before. You try paying attention more to the LR edges while you're doing EO, because here you did M prime and then M2 again. So if you'd been watching them from before, you would know to do an M here, and then M prime E2 M, U prime, and there's cancellation. This solve was good. Keep it up. Happy cubing. Thanks for watching.